Coffee and Conversations. And there we go. We're connected. We are live with Rachel Steedman. I'm going to say this, Doc, my second favorite powerlifting doctor, only because Dr. Yaniv Lakob, who trains with us, I have to say that. Otherwise, I'm getting in trouble. So, it's my number one. Okay, don't tell him. All right. Thank you for joining us, Doc. It's so good to have you on.
It's a pleasure to be on with you.
And thank you for your patience with my 10,000 missed messages. Not so good. So give us a little bit of a rundown on who is Rachel, just for the viewers who don't perhaps know you.
So I'm Rachel. I am currently a trust grade registrar in trauma and orthopaedics in the northeast of England. Specialty being bones and everything fixable in bones.
Sure.
I am also an international powerlifter with Team GB and have been doing so since 2019. Mainly on the equipped bench team.
Yep.
But more recently with the full power team again this year. I've just got back from the European Championships last week. And outside of that, living in the northeast with my partner, who's also my coach Matthew, and our two lovely dogs.
I'm so glad you mentioned the dogs, because it's going to be like, have you forgotten someone? And tell us about the puppies. Who are the dogs?
So we have two dogs. We've got two sisters from the same mum and dad, just 1 year apart. We've got Nala, who's our older one, the black one, and Nessie, who's our little blonde one, who's
awesome.
4 in July.
Okay.
They'll probably make an appearance at some point.
Yep. I think they would have to. It wouldn't be the podcast if it wasn't. So now moving from the equipped bench, which is very, very specific, into full power, what made you want to do that move? Because most people tend to go the other way, right? They start and then they move across maybe to specialize in one of the lifts, equipped or classic bench.
So I think from the beginning I had a love for bench press and found that it was my best lift out of the 3 in both classic and equipped, and I was quite strong on the equipped side. So I started off by doing the equipped and was invited at the time to the full power team as well, to the Western European Championships in 2019. But come sort of COVID and, as training got more specialised, I had less time to be able to put into my training. So a lot of it became bench specialised training for quite a long time. And it's only just recently, I think it was 2024 last year, that I did British full power again.
Right.
At the European Championships, but the Western European Championships. But it's only been this year, having passed my 2 major exams now, that I've had the time to do full power training again. And
brilliant, and a big round of applause as well. Phenomenal. Congratulations. Yeah. Because that's working, studying, and competing, right?
Yeah.
Well, working, studying, training, and competing. So that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, busy all the time.
Which is phenomenal. Awesome. So now we met in Sun City, if I'm not mistaken.
We did, yes.
Yep. And
that was where we first met, yeah.
2023. It seems like yesterday, but it feels like a lifetime. Was it 2023?
It was 2023. I remember you being the technical controller, and the exact words that you said for my final bench press at that point, which actually started my kind of transition, I suppose, from being quite a calm lifter to bringing out my inner demons and warrior in my last attempts.
Excellent, thank you. Would you like to repeat those words for the viewers?
Yeah, so it was coming on from my last bench, and I think you said something on the lines of, what do warriors say, or what do lions say? And I was only, for my second one, I kind of was a little bit less than my last one. I did a massive big roar, and you kind of because almost shat your pants a bit, like, whoa, where did that come from?
It was, compared to your second attempt, it definitely was a surprise. It was like, okay, she's getting it. That's absolutely phenomenal. I have to tell you, like, I've had such wonderful experience in powerlifting, like being the announcer the for World Masters and Commonwealth jointly. Like, that was intense. I didn't realize that none of the competitions are going to run concurrently. Like, there's no breaks. So literally
Yeah.
from 8 a.m. till 2 a.m. in the morning, you're going straight through. And,
Okay.
thank goodness some of the guys were able to step in with the announcing it so I could run to the loo or get a quick bite. But like, that was intense. But being TC, and what was so special, because I was still a national referee at that time, I hadn't done my Cat 2 exam, and getting to
Yeah.
hang out with you guys and stand there and, get bullied by Gareth Bentley from Canada. And but then me, watching all the guys and the Dutch guys and the Polish guys and you guys, and then the British coaches and the American coaches doing cardio with the running up and down. It was the most wonderful experience. And for me, the job of a TC, sorry, I mean, I know this is your podcast, I'm talking too much, but the job of the TC for me is not to watch the lifting on the platform, it's to watch the athletes and to look
Yeah.
down and see what are the athletes doing. And that I learned so much, and just the most wonderful bunch of people. And so I thought, my job is the last representative of the IPF before the athlete steps on the platform, is to do everything that I can to ensure that they can have their best possible lift. It's not there to shout at about
Absolutely.
equipment, and it's not, you just want to come and give me, you're in
Yeah.
Africa, woman, and
Yeah.
yeah. So it was absolutely phenomenal. You have a message here from a young lady, who, by the way, has left our national team. Not saying anything, Jackie, and joined yours. So Jackie Reese, amazing woman. I'll second that, and so is Jackie. Oh, so there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely lovely. So that comp was a lot of fun. Let's go back to the beginning. Tell us about how you got into the sport and about your first powerlifting competition.
So I started lifting back in 2015 when I met Matthew.
Right.
So I'd been sporty all my life. I'd tried everything under the sun. Mainly was doing hockey, field hockey, lacrosse, tennis, athletics in the summer, and golf.
Okay.
Coming from a family of very sporty children, and also, you know, dad played golf as well, and my
Mm.
mum was a PE teacher, so we did
Oh,
all the
wow.
sports that you could think
Phenomenal.
of.
Field
Um,
hockey is the most dangerous sport in the world. People don't
oh
actually realize that. It's insane. Now, particularly
yeah,
when you're in your first year of high school and you're playing a reformatory and the goalkeeper forgets his shin guards and you volunteer to give him yours, everyone else sees that. That was not fun. But yeah, hell of a
yeah.
sport.
Well, I have to say that I've been prone to the odd injury. I've had
Mm,
a hockey ball to the head. I've had a lacrosse ball to my nose.
sure.
One of the reasons why I couldn't actually continue with hockey, unfortunately, so I carried
Mm,
on playing in my gap year, my year out before I started medical school. But unfortunately, sustained an injury to one of the main ligaments in my knee when I
oh.
was 14 that
Mm,
required surgery, and then I needed surgery again when I was 16. So those injuries sort of started to resurface during my first 6 months at university on the first team at St Andrews, and resulted in me having to say that I wasn't able to do it
mm,
anymore.
mm.
But around that time, I started going to the gym with one of my friends from the halls that I was staying in, and then Matthew came up to visit his friend in that same group of corridor as my friends, and we just started talking about lifting and getting into the gym, and the rest is history, really.
And before
We've
you
been
know it,
lifting
there
since
were
then.
two dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So you started in 2015, first
Yeah.
competition?
My first competition wasn't until 2017,
Mm,
so I had a good couple of years of training under my belt before we decided to look into competing. So we went through several different phases of starting off on the 5x5 program,
mhm.
squat, bench, deadlift, progressing it up until we couldn't do any more, and then we sort of moved on to hypertrophy, strength, peak. It was only when I was in like my final year at St Andrews that I looked into the Scottish Universities and Colleges Championships, entering as the only lifter from St Andrews. That was my first competition, and then it was when I went to Glasgow University
Mm.
after for my next 3 years of medical school that I found the Glasgow University powerlifting team, and I think true for most people. You find your family wherever you go in powerlifting.
Sure,
And
so
it was
true.
just like coming into another family with lots of people who were able to support and actually make a team that resulted in us going to the World Universities in 2018, which was my first
Sure.
kind of international at that point.
What was that first comp like for you? Was it, had you already been exposed to the powerlifting community? Was it a bit of an eye opener for you? What was the experience like?
So I think about 6 or 7 months into lifting and Matthew and I being together, I went to watch one of his competitions that he was doing. So that gave me a little bit of exposure to the lifting side.
Mm-hmm.
And then before my first competition, I was lucky enough to go down with him with Northumbria University to the universities and colleges championships, essentially to what's now called Bucks. The British Universities and Colleges Championships down south at Molton College, where he was coaching and where I actually took it upon myself to help support some of the other lifters and handle them on the day as well. So that gave me good exposure to the competition environment before I had my competition the week after.
Oh, wow. Like that's a very good way to do it. It's a very, very smart way to do it because you get the understanding from the other side. So, and how did the performance go on your first comp?
I can't remember exactly, but I think I want to say it was a 9 for 9 competition or very close to.
Brilliant.
I think it was really good. I think the aim was just to kind of, get as many in as we could and do as well as we could just to get exposure to the lifting world. You've got one dog coming in now.
Okay. Hello. Oh, that's the older sister. Hey.
Yes.
Oh, sweet thing. Let me let me zoom out a bit on that. There we go. Oh, that's very much. Is that a mommy's girl?
Yeah, she's the mommy's girl. Yes.
Okay, 100%. Oh, fab. So then your opportunity. So the next comp, when were you able to qualify to represent at international level?
So my first kind of technical international, but that was with the university. It wasn't really Team GB.
Okay, yes. But
Was
that still
the
counts,
World.
right?
Yeah. It was still
100%.
representing one of the GB universities. So it was Glasgow University for the World University and Colleges Championships in 2018 in the summer. And then after that, when we came back, I looked into trying to qualify equipped and do my first equipped competition for the Four Nations Championships to represent Scotland, but unfortunately fell short of the points needed to make the team that year. But I still went along, and then I decided to enter the British Championships in 2019, and that's when I got my first full power Brits total that qualified me for the World Bench in Japan in 2019.
Sure. So let's talk about Japan because pretty much opposite side of the world, long way to travel, the time zones. What was the and also you're going to a nation that I don't want to say bench press is a religion, but they take their bench pretty seriously.
Yeah.
The understatement of the millennia. So what was Japan like for you?
Oh, it was phenomenal. It was we went out with Matthew's mum and her partner as well, so kind of made it smashing. A little bit of a trip all together, and it was amazing. We went out a few days before the competition, so we managed to see a lot of Japan. Having obviously traveled halfway across the world, we made an experience of it, and just the sheer amount of lifters that were there for my first competition was just baffling. It was one of these years that they had the 2 platforms going.
Oh wow!
And just essentially sitting amongst stars and people that I idolized in the equipped world and the raw bench world was such an amazing sensation. And I remember sort of looking at these lifters and kind of thinking, I want to go over and have a chat with them and get a photo with them because these are my inspirations. And at one point, I think it was possibly with, what was it? I got a picture with Ray Steen and Natalie Hansen as well. But Matthew kept pushing me towards their directions, going, "Oh, my girlfriend wants to get a picture with you." And I'm like, going bright red, going, "Oh, no."
Good work, Matthew. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, he's next to me.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
I think he's, one of the questions that we ask on the podcast for a bit of fun is who you going to call out or nominate. Like, nominate's the nice way of saying it. Call out or drop on is so maybe we can nominate Matthew as well. I only think it's fair to get him on the podcast. All right,
Yeah,
so yeah, what I wanted to ask you is so this year's Asia Africa. I always get it wrong. Asia Pacific Africa. So the new regional championships. It's the third year in a row. It's now going to be in Japan. So we've got a few South Africans going over there, which is absolutely phenomenal. What advice would you give to new lifters going to Japan for the first time? Take a
definitely.
Matthew.
Yeah, take a Matthew.
Take a Matthew.
I would definitely say try the food. Be probably not pre-competition if
Yeah.
you're going to have any issues, but definitely post-competition. Try the local cuisine. Be adventurous. Maybe look at a few places to go to before you arrive in Japan, so that and leave a few days beforehand to do some small activities close by, because it's such a phenomenal country that is so many years ahead of the other different parts of the world with their technology and what they do over there. That's just absolutely amazing to see, and their culture was a lovely part to kind of integrate into and see as well whilst we were over there.
Sure.
And obviously the weather can vary as well, so probably bring something for everything kind of situation.
Because also, South Africans, for us, if it gets below 16 Celsius, that's cold. So I don't think we're prepared. We're not really prepared for cold weather with our clothing.
Oh,
So you got to be properly prepared for the cold weather.
come across to Scotland because 16 degrees is shorts and a t-shirt for us.
100%. You're out tanning by the pool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'll never forget, had a mate of mine's cousin here from London, probably about 35 years ago. And it was middle of winter. It was probably 12 degrees. It was freezing. We bundled up. We got the beanie on and 3 scarves and big puffer jackets. And she's out by the pool suntanning because it's like getting a bit of sun. So it's like, that's when I learned to take what you guys say about the weather seriously, but then take
Yeah.
off 10 degrees in my mind. So yeah.
Yeah.
So how did the Japan competition go for you?
So it was a good first experience. I remember opening on 95 kilograms, and
Sure.
I think we went up to 105 next, which I also got,
Mm-hmm.
and we went for 112.5, which would have matched, I think, my performance at the British Championships that year. But unfortunately, I missed it. So I remember being really upset about it at the time. But Mark Giles, who was the GB coach at the time, I came off and, he was sort of giving me a big bear hug. And then he sort of said, right, we'll get you ready for Finland now, which was the European
Yeah.
Championships. And I just kind of thought, oh, I'm okay now,
Yeah.
because have I just been invited to another international this year by the GB coach? And I just thought it's a very
Brilliant.
humbling experience, and that feeling of being honoured to be asked again to be part of what is a fantastic experience and a great chance to represent GB and my country as well, which is
Sure.
amazing, which I've never done
Absolutely.
before.
So to go back a little bit with that, what was it like the first time getting your singlet, your tracksuit, and the opportunity to represent your country at international level?
I think I just remember, because I remember getting it delivered back home in Edinburgh, because I'd been home for the weekend. We'd all gone home for the weekend, so Matthew was with me as well. And I remember the yellow DHL parcel arriving from SBD, so it was the old GB singlets at the time.
Yeah.
And taking it out, taking a picture of it on the floor, putting all the singlet on, the t-shirt and the socks with a thumbs up and everything, and just kind of thinking like I'm actually going out and doing this now, and yeah, representing GB, which is just it gets me every single time. Every time I get a letter through that says you've been invited to represent GB
Sure.
from your performance, and putting that singlet on, is just it never gets old, never gets tiring.
It sort of validates for you all the work and the effort, the training, the sacrifice, the commitment.
Yeah, definitely, and it does get me a few brownie points sometimes at work. Sort of being that person that essentially a lot of people talk, so they all know about me being the powerlifter in the region, representing GB without even meeting people before sometimes.
Right.
I think it does give me that drive and determination to have that experience again and work hard to be invited again for these experiences. Because as I say, it never gets old, and you always feel that sense of accomplishment being asked to represent GB again, and doing everything that you can to achieve what you can at the competitions.
Yeah, it's such an important point that you make, and in terms of talking about what that means to you and sort of validating the work and just sort of that sense and that feeling. I chatted to a young South African powerlifter last week, and we were talking about, he had gone through a really rough breakup, and he's a lovely guy. When you're next out in South Africa to compete, you'll definitely hear him in the audience. He's our loudest supporter. He's nearly the equivalent of Team Scotland on his own. So you know how loud that is. Because you know, yeah. So for Commonwealth and Masters, I bought the sound meter to test everybody's cheering. So there was a lot of fun. But what he was saying was he went through a rough breakup and did what every young guy at varsity does, went out drinking, and then realized it wasn't going to lead him down a healthy path, and he switched to competition. And I think that's the thing about our sports and competition, that you have the opportunity to work towards something very healthy. And for people who maybe are struggling with potential unhealthy choices or options that are unhealthy, powerlifting can be a great sport. I'd love your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. Like for me personally, powerlifting has helped both my physical and mental health, in the sense of I've had, touch wood, no injuries whilst competing in powerlifting. It's actually allowed me to
I'm coming
strengthen the
forward.
muscles round
You
about.
said touch wood. Sorry.
Oh, right.
No,
It allowed me to strengthen the muscles round about my knee joint and help prevent against further knee injuries and instability in my knee because of my previous injuries. But most important to me is definitely the mental health aspect, because sometimes when I feel that nothing else in life is going the way that I want it to, or work's been hard, or something else has happened and it's really affecting my mental health, I can always go to the gym and I can always rely on lifting in the gym and following a program and going towards that goal of trying to get a little bit higher each week to settle any sort of nerves and sort of stress or anything that I have at that point in time. Because 9 times out of 10 things don't tend to go wrong, and when they do, I just accept it and move on. I find it a lot easier with that as a coping mechanism for everything that I do in my life.
So I was going to say, and that lesson from Japan, where you get something that you could have been, you missed the third attempt, you could have been focused on that and broken, it could have ruined everything, but then immediately switching to, okay, cool, I'm in the next one, let's go.
Yeah.
It's such a great lesson.
I think I do have to say that since starting, there was times where I have gone through periods where I've really struggled with the not getting a lift in, and having to accept that, for example, the competition last year at FitFest in the UK, probably didn't prepare as well as I could for it, and I only got one of my 3 lifts in and didn't get a personal best, but nothing was really feeling right on the day. And I immediately went into a destructive mode of going, oh, it's not been worth the travel down, it's not been worth the money, I'm a failure, I'm a this, I'm a that. And I wouldn't take any hugs or anything for anybody for quite a while until I sort of calmed down, which is very unlike me. But actually, going to most recently at the European Championships, because I've been working with a sports psychologist, I've managed to face the bombing, my first bomb at an international, unfortunately, but it was bound to happen at some point, and bring myself back for deadlift and get a personal best on deadlift, which I would never foresee myself having done before. So it really has taught me a lot of lessons from the mental health aspect, and it's kind of saved me in a lot of sense from just lots of self-destruction and going into self-destruction mode by always having that saving grace of going to the gym, either with Matthew or with my friends, and following that program and feeling like something is going right, even if everything else is crashing and burning around me.
It's so true. I had a very fortunate opportunity to go to Kruger National Park a couple of weeks ago with a friend, and I haven't experienced that level of relaxation that quickly. And it's literally as you just like, you walk into the house, you put your bags down, you walk outside, and his wife actually shouted, Ellie's, Ellie's. There were elephants just in the garden of where we were staying.
Wow.
But that just really, as you're driving in, and I think I thought of that when you spoke about, when you said just going to the gym, right? No, young lady, we'll come back to you now. I'm chatting to your mom. Um, it's like, even if you're having a really bad day and everything's going rough and you don't want to go to the gym, and you maybe start those negative comments and that negative self-talk, you get into the gym, you feel better. You get into the change room, put your bag down, put your kit on, you feel better. You walk out, you feel better. At the second your hand hits that bar and you feel that knurling and it goes around, I think that's it, you feel fantastic. And then when that weight comes on and that load comes on, you're in the zone. I don't know if you
Yeah.
find that.
Yeah, definitely. Like there is, again, I can still have hard days in the gym where I do find it difficult to get the motivation to train, but we very rarely have times where we don't want to train. We still go and get it done anyway. And as soon as you described, as soon as you're in the gym, it's like, you know, you're ready to go. It just, something just clicks and you go
Yeah.
from being really tired to, well, I've got a job to do. I've got to get it done.
Get
And I've
it
got to do
done.
it. And I've got to do it because I've got goals set and I want to meet them for my next, you know, championship or competition, which means a lot to me.
Yeah. That's it. It is such a healthy attitude, and it's such a valuable attitude because you can carry that through to every other area of your life. And I think it's the understanding of, you never get that time back. You're not going to get the training
Yeah.
session back. You're not going to get the study session back. You're not going to get that family time back.
Yeah. Yeah. And another good thing for me from the gym point of view is if we don't get time to spend with each other outside of the gym, we can go and train together, which was the nicest thing from the start of the relationship, is that we can spend time together in the gym and it's something that we share in common. And as I say, it helped me through lots of my exams and things as well. So lots of people were sort of saying, oh, you know, just focus on the exam, give all your time to the exam, all your hours of your day to your exam and your revision, then just relax at home. And I kind of go, well, no, I can't.
Yeah.
You know, if I just do that, I will burn out, and it's important for me to carry this on because this also means a lot to me. And if I miss it, it will actually be harder to do said exam than if I did the competition or if I did the training.
That's one of the things that breaks my heart when I see it with many schools where they start cutting back on PE, on phys ed, you know, the type of training, the opportunity for kids to engage in sport and to engage in team sport or, you know, single sport. It's not a waste of time going to the gym. You're not taking
No.
time away from the studying. You're only going to enhance your other endeavors.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's lots of studies that certainly show all the benefits that, you know, powerlifting and lifting weights can give you even from a young age. And actually, last year before the Western Europeans, before we flew out, I went back to speak at my school.
Awesome.
Where I used to go, where I did an assembly and I showed them my presentation on lifting and what it means to me and what you can do and what powerlifting actually is in my GB kit. And then I followed that with 3 sessions with 3 different groups of school students in the new gym that they've set up
right
at the school, which didn't used to be there when I was there. And it's fantastic because obviously you do get some kids who aren't interested in it, which is fine, but there are some other individuals that you can see have that drive and passion to want to do some sort of lifting and see people like myself go, oh wow, you know, she's brought medals and stuff with her as well, that they go, I want to do that too. And I think it's great to be that person that can inspire a future generation to get into lifting or to get into medicine or to continue sport to a high level throughout their whole lives.
Absolutely phenomenal. Did you have some of the boys wanting to come and say, can I bench as much as you? You're out benching them.
I went to an all girls school, so it
okay, all right,
all
fair
girls.
enough. So some of the teachers.
Yeah, well, certainly Matthew's been one of the lead coaches for the equipped GB juniors and sub junior teams.
Oh, fantastic.
And we all have, there's all big group chat, and a lot of the young lads do look up to females who bench lots as well. So they're always,
That's so awesome.
in awe of what we can do too, which I think is great. They're not taking that like, oh, I need to bench more, I need to do this. That's fantastic. We really are inspired by how much you lift and think it's really impressive, which is lovely.
And it really is, and it teaches that focus and commitment and consistency. It's just that if you stay in the sport for long enough and you're constant for long enough, you stick to your training, you honor your training, you will perform at an elite level, whether that's as a sub junior or a master 5. That opportunity is going to be there. It's a really, really cool. So speaking of juniors and sub juniors, not to put any pressure on Matthew, but next year South Africa is hosting at Sun City juniors and sub juniors. Are you guys coming to visit?
Yeah, well, Matthew will be coming out and we can make a holiday of it because I'll come out as well.
Oh, excellent. Hang on. Yay! Very, very cool. That's absolutely awesome. We're looking forward to having you guys over. It's going to be a phenomenal, phenomenal competition. I'm just hoping it's one platform so I can get some sleep.
Well, I could offer my hand to help you out
with the announcing.
Announcing.
Deal. Yeah, done. Yeah. You take Tuesday through Thursday. I'm going to the pool. It'll be absolutely fantastic. And it's such a wonderful thing to have athletes in from such a young age, and to understand that team commitment and that connection and that value. It's going to be an absolute blast. It just Definitely. Something so good to teach them. So we got a couple of questions that I like to ask my athletes, but my guests. The fun thing though, before we get to it, is I just wanted to start with the last question first. Who would you like to nominate to come on the podcast next? I got the idea from the ice bucket challenge, where you end up and then I nominate. What was that little girl, the UK British girl, where she was like, "Fucking hell!" Have you seen that one? All right.
I would nominate, from Brit's point of view, Kate Sweatman.
Okay, cool.
Kate is like my bench mum to me. Again, one of the day one inspiration to be a part of the team, and one of our really good friends. I think she'd be a great addition to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Will you send me her details on WhatsApp or on Instagram? Brilliant, thank you.
I will do.
Cool. So now just a couple of fun questions. I think, the third one's a little bit more serious, but what do you love about powerlifting?
I love the camaraderie that I get, and the feeling of being in a team. Even though people will see it as an individual sport, it really isn't, because the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes, especially for equipped, you're often a one athlete lifter with 3-4 people in your corner hauling you into your suits, getting the settings right, doing your numbers, warm up. It's a huge commitment, and I love the fact I get to be a part of Fuel Power. I feel honoured to have that, and so many wonderful and amazing people that I get to share the experience with. Not even just on Team GB, but I've made friends all over the world. Sonia Kruger in Germany, as I said before, Registrar from Canada. She's one of my inspirations for.
Oh, Rachel, I think we may be losing you on the connection there. Not sure if you can hear me. Folks, stay with us. We're going to just give Rachel a minute. Could be a network or... Oh, you're back. So we lost you for a few moments there, just on the signal.
Oh, so I was just sort of saying friends all over the world. Sonia Kruger in Germany, Rhea Steen from Canada. I've met other lifters from New Zealand as well that I've done singlet swaps with, t-shirt swaps with.
Awesome.
And as I say, more recently, getting to swap singlets with the most amazing powerlifter in the world, being Agata Shitko, was phenomenal.
How cool is that?
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely the best singlet swap that I've done.
Absolutely phenomenal. Are you going to frame these singlets and hang them up, or they're packed away safely?
So I've got 4 of them in the gym. So I've got an Irish one
Mm,
from a fellow ED doctor from Ireland. So we swapped. I've got Canadian singlets from Danny in
mm.
Canada, Swedish singlets from one of the Swedish lifters, and the
Oh,
Polish
phenomenal.
singlet. So yeah, they're up in our gym, Northeast Strength Culture in Darlington,
Oh,
so everyone can
excellent.
see them.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Do you want?
And I also have
Yep.
a South African tracksuit as well from Meg.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Okay. From Demite. Oh, you got to love
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Brilliant. Oh, phenomenal. Really also a wonderful ambassador for South African powerlifting. Both her and her mum. We couldn't run a competition
Absolutely.
without Heather. So we,
Yeah,
we wouldn't go well. So thank God for Heather and Harney. Absolutely
yeah.
fantastic. So just on that point with the singlet swapping in that, it's such a nice thing to be able to do. Are there any singlets that you've got your eye on that you would like to get any countries?
I would love a Spanish singlet
Mm.
because that I'm fluent in Spanish,
Ah,
and
sí,
it's
muy
like
bien.
our. See,
Gracias.
I would,
Yeah.
I would love a Spanish
Mm.
singlet, because it's like our second home.
Okay.
At the moment, we've got friends over there, and the New Zealand one I loved as well. Having spoken to Carlina before
Mm.
and said, it'd be an absolute honor to swap with another fellow medic.
Sure.
But she likes to frame her singlets, and she mentioned that she'd also given 2 of her singlets to her mum and her dad, who are her biggest supporters, and get her to where she is, which I think is a lovely idea as well.
That's very, very cool. I think almost SBD needs to start something along the lines of singlet swapping, where you can do a remote singlet swap with SBD and they can just ship the singlet straight over.
Yes.
It's not a bad
Yeah.
idea. SBD, you heard it here first from Dr. Steedman and myself. Just bear in mind when the commission goes. All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
So, on a more light-hearted note, what about, and it doesn't have to be anything serious, it can be something fun. What drives you mad about powerlifting?
Oh, I think I remember saying something before, but
Yep.
I can't.
Huh?
I can't think of anything.
I was going to say, by the way,
I think I
does
think
our
what's
studio look better than the last one that we had?
yes, definitely. I think it's not. I suppose it's not driving me mad, but the thing that is probably most frustrating is putting in all the hours of work,
Mm,
and all the hours of your training and into your comp day, and not getting the result that you wanted. So I'd say most recently at Euros bombing on
mm, mm.
bench,
Yeah.
and being absolutely devastated that I've not managed to show off the hard work that I've been doing in training and letting it turn up on comp day. But that was definitely an anomaly. That was 8 out of 13 of us bombing.
What?
Yes,
What?
yes. And only
How?
1 out of 576 lifters finishing with a total. It was Holly Bryans from GB being the European champion. So it was
All
an
right.
interesting day.
Wow. So there must have been
So
something
much
in the air
so,
or in the water. Yeah. Gee
yes,
whiz.
so much
Yeah.
so that the jury actually took a picture of the board after the
Mm.
second round, where only 2 lifters had got a bench on the board.
Gee whiz. Okay, so that might have been
Yeah.
something with the bench or something going on that was with.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair
Yeah. A
enough.
little bit, just a little bit.
Okay. Well, they need to call for a new comp. No, and then cover the costs of everyone going over.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's a lot of fun. But I mean, and very serious as well. The what is powerlifting given you? They're a little bit more serious.
It's going to probably sound a bit weird, but it's given me a
Mm.
new lease of life.
Mm.
That I've never managed to get to this level in powerlifting, or sorry, in any sport before, and to be able to represent my country, I think is just the best feeling that I've ever had.
Yeah.
And actually, more than anything as well, it's given me Matthew.
Yay! Yeah, 100%.
And it's given me the drive, it's given me the motivation to represent my country, and it's given me something that can, as I say before, can keep my mental health in check.
Yep.
Through having that activity to do on a regular basis and something to aim for, as well as friendships through local, national, international level as well, to give it that exciting aspect and that level of fun, which I love every time I get to go out to competitions.
That's phenomenal. Absolutely love that. You know, I was chatting to Lisa Harrington this morning, and a friend of hers, John, I'm going to mess up the pronunciation, Powell's, I think, an Australian lifter. And Lisa was chatting about her surviving cancer and speaking to John, who was a colleague of hers at the university, and getting him into lifting. And he competed in his first competition on the day that he got his cancer diagnosis, but how cancer helped him drop massive weight and to just help him get healthy. And now he's cancer free, and he's focusing on just lifting and competing. And what Lisa said, I mean, it's something that's so profound. It blew me away. She's like, everyone, I mean, we all dread, heavens forbid, a cancer diagnosis. But she said if it wasn't for cancer, she wouldn't have found powerlifting. And she's grateful for what powerlifting has given her in terms of how she feels about her body and herself. And as you said, the life that it's given and that drive, that's so incredible. And you reiterated the same thing, not from, thank heaven, something such a serious position, but just the life that it's given you.
I think it's the thing that I love about lifting is everyone has a different story. No two people that come into lifting have the same story as to why they've started lifting or what lifting has given them. I find that I to lots of different people from all walks of life, different ages and stages, about what powerlifting is giving them.
Yep.
Townsend at the gym, to her coming into one of our equipped trial training sessions, being complete.
Oh, Rachel, we're losing you a little bit.
She's just done her most recent competition, and
sorry, we lost you there. Could you just start that story again, just from the beginning, if you don't mind? Seem to be having a bit of a network challenge. So, Rachel, have we got you back? You can.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fabulous. Could you start your story again, just from the beginning?
Yeah. So
please.
Just so I was saying, the likes of my friend Sam Townsend from the gym, who came in from knowing nothing about powerlifting to where she is now, competing at her third competition and putting, I would say, I think a surplus of 100 kilos on previous total that she'd had.
Wow.
And also losing in excess of 25 kilos from where she was.
Wow.
Full-time job, fantastic. And other people like in their 90s who are lifting, people who have found lifting through running, and people who have gone from being pre-diabetic to completely healthy after finding powerlifting. Just as it's no two stories that are the same.
Sure.
And it's amazing.
And the thing that as a powerlifter, when you say someone's added 100 kilos to their total and lost 25 kilos, it doesn't compete in the brain, because usually you want to go up in weight to up your total. So that's absolutely phenomenal. And that just shows the commitment to the lifting. So that's very, very cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. Just as we start to wrap up, is there anything that you would like to touch on or talk about?
I think just emphasizing that powerlifting is for everybody. You can start from anything and become anything you want to be, really. Yeah. It's not anything to something or nothing to something. It's starting from any sort of level and becoming anything that you want to be, because you can make powerlifting what you want it to be and where your journey and where you want it to go. You don't have to be an international level lifter. You can just enjoy what you're doing and be in that community and enjoy doing some physical activity that will reap mental and physical health benefits for the rest of your life.
Yeah, sure. Love that. Absolutely. It's whether you want to chase the podium or you just want to have a bit of a community in the gym. And I'm looking forward to us hosting masters towards the end of this year, because I think for the older master lifters, community is so valuable, and having a reason to get out of the house and go and visit, particularly for a widower, that it's the
Yeah.
most valuable thing out there. And no master 4 or 5, eventually I'm sure we'll get 6s and 7s, should be lonely because of this sport.
No.
No one should be
And I think,
lonely.
especially for the older lifters, a lot of them train, and there's previous adverts about this, they train so that they can lift their grandchildren up. They can be
Yep.
around for grandchildren and great grandchildren and still running after them. And and I think that it's a fantastic thought to think that actually we are becoming a generation where protein products and having more of a focus on a high protein diet alongside the longevity that powerlifting can give you, or lifting in a gym to build muscle mass can give you, is amazing.
Absolutely, sure. And ladies and gentlemen, you heard that from the doctor. So, you heard it here first. Rachel, thank you so much for your time. It's been epic to chat to you again. I know we've been trying for 2 years, I think,
Yeah.
to get it going, but I take full responsibility for that. So really, thank you again for coming on. We're looking forward to chatting to you soon, and also can't wait to see you guys in Sun City next year. It's going to
Definitely.
be phenomenal. Thank you. And a big thank you to Martin for getting you into the sport.
Yeah,
Hey?
easier.
Okay, good. Awesome. Have a
Yeah.
phenomenal evening. Thank you for your time, really, and for
No
everything
worries.
that
Lovely
you
to
share.
chat to you. Thanks for having me on.
It's been epic. Give me 2 secs. I'm going to shut the stream down, and then I'll chat you quickly off air. And we're chatting to Yumi, a young Canadian powerlifter, in about 8 minutes. And a big thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. I do see Meg and Barbell 1610 are watching, so that's great to see. Chrissy Reese is also watching. Julia, so you got a lot of the South African lifters here for you. So it's been absolutely
Oh,
fantastic. Oh, thank you,
amazing.
everybody. Great. Rachel, I'll chat to you now. Thank you for joining us, folks. Stay with us. We'll be back in about 10 minutes.